Have you ever just been watching a stock, one that's been quiet for months, and then all of a sudden it just explodes overnight? Well, that is exactly what happened with Bkyi International, or BKYI. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down how this one stock managed to pull off one of the most insane single-day breakouts you'll probably ever see. Okay, let's get right into it.
Just look at that number, 136% in a single day. We're not talking about a year's gain here or even a month's. This is the kind of move that just makes everyone in the market stop what they're doing and ask the exact same thing.
And that's the big question, right? That's the puzzle we're going to solve together. Because, it's not magic. It's really a perfect storm of news, momentum, and a whole lot of market psychology. We're going to unpack the story, dig into the data, and see what it tells us about what could be coming next.
All right, so first things first, let's set the scene. Before this huge explosion, BYNY was a stock that was, for all intents and purposes, flying completely under the radar.
What's so wild about this timeline is just the sheer contrast. I mean, for months, the stock was kind of bleeding out in a downtrend, trading below $1 with super low volume. Then you look at October 24th, totally normal day, closes at 77 cents, about 75,000 shares traded. And then, bam, October 27, the stock closes at $1.82, and the volume, over 184 times million shares. That's like a quiet indie film just suddenly turned into a summer blockbuster.
And this chart just puts that shift into perspective. Look at that volume column. We go from these tiny numbers like 74,000 to over 184 million. That's a jump of over 2,400 times its recent average. This wasn't just a few people getting excited. No, this was a full-on market stampede. So what in the world could have caused this?
Well, every fire has to start with a spark, right? And for BKII, that spark was one major piece of news that absolutely lit the fuse on this whole thing.
And here it is. The company announced a strategic partnership to get their security solutions into the Nordic region. This is that fundamental piece of news, the catalyst that hits the wires and signals to the market, hey, there's potential for new growth here, new revenue.
And the analysis backs this up completely. It wasn't some random glitch in the market. The report says it loud and clear. This partnership news was the likely trigger. But okay, news is one thing. What did this massive surge actually do to the stock's health from a technical standpoint?
So now we get to geek out on the data a little. See, after a jump this huge, you have to look at the charts to figure out if this new price is for real or if the stock is just running on fumes.
Okay, so here's the first huge technical signal. The stock didn't just climb, it gapped up. That means it opened for trading way higher than it closed the day before, leaving a literal gap on the chart. It basically pole vaulted over all its old price ceilings, what traders call moving averages. It went from being stuck under them to soaring way above them. That is a classic, powerful sign of a trend reversal. But a move that aggressive also comes with a big warning label.
And that warning label has a name: overbought. The best way to think about it is like a sprinter who just shattered the world record. I mean, they won the race, for sure, but they are totally out of breath and they can't possibly keep up that pace. A stock can do the exact same thing. After a monster run-up, it might just be overextended and due for a cool down or a pullback.
And the data for BKY is practically screaming this. Take a look at the RSI, the Relative Strength Index. Usually, anything over 70 is considered overbought. BKY's RSI is at 90.69. The report calls that extremely overbought. And it's not alone. You can see a bunch of other indicators on this chart flashing this same exact warning. The engine is redlining.
So this slide really sums up the internal battle that's happening right now. On one side, you've got these incredibly powerful bullish signs. Awesome momentum, a crazy high breakout score, a confirmed new trend. But on the other side, you have some serious flashing red lights. Extreme volatility, all those overbought signals, and what the report basically calls panic buying and FOMO, fear of missing out. It's a total tug-of-war between that positive momentum and the very real risk of burnout.
And that brings us to the million-dollar question. So what happens now? Well, the analysis lays out three pretty distinct possibilities, and it all hinges on a couple of key price levels. These are the two numbers you got to watch right now. Think of 197 as the ceiling. That's the level the bulls need to smash through. And 158 is the floor. That's what the bears are trying to break. What happens at these two levels is probably going to decide the stock's next big move.
So here are the three roads this stock could take.
Scenario 1 is bullish. All that FOMO and good news keeps the party going. The price breaks through that 197 ceiling, and maybe its next stop is around 250. Scenario 2, the bearish case. The overbought condition wins out, the price falls through that 158 floor, and it could slide all the way back down toward $1. And then there's Scenario 3, the neutral path. The stock just takes a breather. It trades sideways between those two levels while the market tries to figure out what it's really worth.
And this is really the key takeaway from the whole analysis. The technicals are pointing to a euphoric sentiment. Now, euphoric is an emotional word, right? Not a financial one. It really suggests this move was driven as much by hype as by logic. And the advice here is crystal clear. You have to verify if the company's actual business can support this new, much higher price tag.
So in the end, the story of Bkyi is this classic market showdown. Is this incredible rise the start of a whole new chapter for the company, totally justified by this new partnership, or is it just a short-term frenzy, a bubble of pure hype that's about to pop? The data shows us both sides of the argument, and honestly, what happens next is going to be a fascinating lesson in what really drives the stock's value when frenzy and fundamentals collide.